Dear friends of Metaldetector International, welcome back to our appointment that is usually set every 15 days. But as you noticed, probably, the last time we could not broadcast. There's a very specific reason for that, and I just want to steal 2 minutes to explain this. 15 days ago, we lost a friend, and my thought and is going to my very good friends in Stonefoot Band, because one of them, their guitarist, is now on a solo tour at the Court of the Angels. So the broadcast of tonight is just dedicated to you, Fabio. We miss you, and we always love you. And say that, good friends, I just don't want to waste time, and I'm calling in on the screen my very good friend, Misfortune.
Hi, everybody.
Hey, how you doing?
Hi, how are you?
As you see me, as usual. Now, I heard that in your Zoom, the limitation has been lifted. Is that right? I mean, you guys now have concerts, you can go everywhere, you are pretty free.
Like last summer, we can do concerts, small gatherings, going out to eat, to drink. So we hope to have a nice summer. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, I know I'm just kind of hopeless about that, but I cannot. I'm being like for a whole year telling to people on the screen that no, the bands are gonna be we're gonna get rid of them soon, and we'll go back to our usual life and stuff. So it's basically just what we said 1 year ago, if you remember, when we met as teams with La Musica Ferma and Metaldetector. So I'm not, I'm just hopeless, and I'm waiting for events to come. But tonight, it's kind of special because here we have a very good friend of mine. This is probably the third time that I'm in an interview with him. He's a great piece of fun, and he's a true music lover. He's a true underground supporter, and he's from Canada. He has the most awesome and badass beard you will find in your whole life. So I asked my good friend Evo, which is in the bottom room, to bring on the screen Mr. Brien Montgomery.
Hello.
Hi.
Fabio, I have to correct you. I don't have a beard. See, no beard.
Yeah, no. I mean, like, I don't know how
sideburns.
Sideburns. You're right. I'm quite sorry about that, but
almost like Wolverine sideburns.
Yeah, right.
Like little tusks. See?
It remains the fact that it is the most awesome sideburns that I've ever seen. It remains. It's still good. So, Brien, I'm gonna leave you in the beautiful hands of Misfortune that is gonna ask you very difficult questions.
Ooh.
Yeah, I don't know. Very difficult. Okay, let's begin with the basics. Tell us something about yourself, because he knows you. I don't. So tell me something about yourself.
Music-wise or personal questions?
Both.
Getting older, I'm turning gray. I still act like a child most of the times. I have kids myself, and I'm probably less mature than they are.
Isn't it good?
It's very good.
It's really good. I want to ask you, I think, so you grew up on a little island, am I right? Vancouver Island.
Yes, that's where I currently live, just outside of Victoria.
Okay. I grew up in a tiny city, more like a village, in Tuscany. And music came to me on the telly, on the radio, and I was listening to what it was broadcasted to me.
Right. Okay.
And it was somehow difficult to find something that was not mainstream. So how did you discover a music that was not so commercial?
I probably owe it a lot to my parents. My mom was always had friends that were musicians, and I grew up just outside of Victoria, which was kind of the main city, and more hippies and hillbillies, and they all played music. So they had a thing they called the family gathering when I was a kid out on one of the properties, and they had built a stage, and they played a lot of blues music, and a lot of it was through my mom just going to festivals and going to music concerts. A lot of mainstream stuff too, but a lot of stuff that you probably wouldn't see mainstream because it was more of a local scene. And the island's always had a huge music scene. So that's where I kind of fell into a lot of the underground music, if you want to call it that. It was less mainstream. And still am the same way.
So it's a family thing.
Yeah, it's a family thing. I owe mostly to my mom for introducing me to a lot of the different music.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah.
What was a favorite band, if I can ask, or favorite artist?
It depends. Like on the islands, we have a huge underground punk music scene. I don't know if you listen to a lot of punk music from Canada. So there's always been that element. There's always been blues. I don't really have a favorite band. I listen to a lot of reggae music. A good friend of mine also puts on the Victoria Ska Reggae Fest every year. He's been doing that for the last 20 years. So I also help, and I volunteer there as well, doing setup and tear down, driving musicians around and so forth, right? So can't really pinpoint an actual favorite band. I just like all music mostly.
No, I meant probably I meant what was her favorite band? The ones that put up the most.
My mom's?
Yeah.
I don't really know. She still comes out to shows with me. She still comes out to punk shows with me at 63 and hangs out and comes out and dances and, not in the mosh pit, but she'll still come out and enjoy the same music. Whenever I do the musical thing at my house, Sledge on the Swamp, my mom comes out and she's the older lady in the corner doing the hula hoops.
That's amazing. And usually music taste evolves with time. So
yes.
Which was your journey?
I started off most, as a kid listening to what my mom would listen to, a lot of the 80s stuff. And then kind of as a teenager got into more punk and then sort of evolved into, a lot of metal and not a lot of the mainstream metal. I kind of always liked more underground metal and then sort of progressed into more doom stoner metal as I got older. And here we are today.
So basically,
go ahead.
Basically, your parents made you listen to a lot of good music when you were a kid. And how do you think it influenced your everyday life and your career life?
I don't know. I listen to music sometimes based on mood, I guess. I don't really have a rhyme or reason. I just have the most odd playlist. I'll be plugging in music for my radio show and I'll be listening to reggae music or vice versa.
You joined Broken Neck Radio back in 2014.
Yes.
If I'm not wrong.
Yep.
Tell us something about it. How did you came up with your own show?
Well, my friend Stan Shinners, he actually started the radio station in 2011 for one of his friends that always wanted to have music playing at his parties, but some of the stuff you couldn't find on conventional radios. So his friend convinced him to basically start a radio station that he could just broadcast to him. So he did. And that's how Broken Neck Radio basically started. I've known Stan for a long time, and I seen he put out a casting call looking for more DJs, and I kind of went through it, and I said nobody was kind of covering, our sort of stoner rock, doom metal, if you want to categorize it into some genre, which I don't always like to do, because to me that sort of seems more mainstream to categorize it. And what genre, where does it fall? To me, it's just all music and different levels. So I thought to myself, well, nobody's covering that kind of music, so that's where I had gone through what music I had, and I applied and I joined, and here we are today talking, which is cool. That's kind of the evolution of where I came up with my show.
This makes me feel like I just go back with my memories on the 80s and 90s, when the only good way to discover new music was radio, or just friends borrowing you cassettes and CDs, maybe. No?
Mixtapes.
Yeah. Mixtapes, yeah. This feels kind of nostalgic to me. So it makes me think of a question. During the year, you're a great music consumer, and
Yep.
we like the same stuff at the end of the day.
Yep.
But if you could describe the evolution that the heavy music, underground music, has gone through during the last 30 years, 40 years, how would you describe that from your own point of view?
Well, it's been huge because of social media. I mean, that's how I found you guys, through social media. Otherwise, through traditional channels, I probably would have never heard you guys or ever found you guys through Bandcamp, Facebook, Instagram and stuff. So now with social media, it's become huge in the evolution of underground music and connection with people all over the world. Say, me finding bands all over the world has been massive.
Why doom and stoner metal?
Why?
Why?
That's a good question. It's a lot of introspective thinking. Why? Well, I've always liked blues music. Always liked, classical blues like Muddy Waters, R.L. Burnside. So doom stoner is just more of a hybrid of that music already. It's just tuned down a little bit lower, a little bit slower, and I've always, posturated myself towards blues music. I play blues on my guitar, so I think that's just sort of my evolution and why I like it so much.
I'm sorry, I had broadcast problems. I missed the whole answer. I think I'm gonna
Oh,
it again. Don't worry, man. I was genuinely
me to-
interested in what you had to say. I'm so sorry.
I can repeat myself if you want.
Don't worry, I will watch it later. I promise.
Here, I should probably stand like this and do some advertising.
Yeah, great band, by the way.
Yeah, Ben's an amazing person.
That's always nice.
Yeah. So
They're
that's basically.
They're going to be our guests.
Yes,
In
Ben
a
will.
couple of appointments.
Oh, really?
May 11th.
Not the next time. The other.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so nice.
Yeah, I didn't ask him. I told him. Ben's actually a really good friend of mine. He's a really cool guy.
They did a great job last year. Beautiful album. I listened to that. They had a great recognition on Doom charts, and they deserve that. They're good.
They did. I've actually had the album for about 2 years before it was actually released. So actually,
you had the opportunity to listen to it.
Yeah, I've had it for a long time. Like I say, Ben's a friend of mine. He's given it to me, and they were sort of unsure about releasing it, and I sort of.
Good damn it.
I'm not going to take credit for it, but I kind of have been nudging him to get it out there, and he finally did. And I mean, it's been a huge response for him. They're actually now signed to Ripple Music, and the last vinyl coming out.
That's great.
And,
did you ever hear that someone on the radio there was a underground band and then make it big? somehow.
Suncro is one of them. They sort of came out of nowhere, and then bam, Ripple Music has now signed them. Whoa, there you go. It's a little bit different. There's a lot of other bands that I like to say that I've helped them by what I do for my radio station, and my shameless self-promotion of them, or as my friends call it, the "look at me" factor. So,
and how do you prepare for a radio show?
How do I prepare? I have some ciders. I have a large bottle of Fireball whiskey, some joints, and away I go. And then the alter ego, the Horde, comes out of nowhere, and that's what happens. I don't. Depends. I mean, sometimes I'll do kind of specific stuff based on mood. If I'm feeling angry, I'll play angry music for a revolution, or depending on how the world is turning to shit sometimes. Maybe I'll play music that makes everyone feel like we're going down a rabbit hole and nothing's going to get better and there's no hope for the future.
Good, yeah,
And sometimes I'll play happy music for happy people. I don't know.
We always ask this question,
Right.
How is the underground scene in Canada?
Right now?
Yeah, right now too, but in general.
Right now, you could probably take a shovel and bury it 6 feet under and call it done. You can't do anything.
Yeah, basically it's the same everywhere, man.
Other than that,
we haven't been playing a show in
forever.
In 1 year since last March.
Never heard of live shows. They sound like just this mystical thing that used to happen in the past.
Yeah, it's like when in the very past they used to sacrifice virgins on the altar or something. I don't know.
That's
can't
right.
remember stuff like that.
Now everyone just watches old live footage and says, "I remember that." Oh, it's like watching bad reruns of MASH on TV now.
I think I already asked you this question, the question that Sally just asked you. But among the people that watch us every week, there's a lot of bands.
Yes.
That's at the very debut on maybe at the second, third album. The friends, they're just watchers, and I think that they are very curious about how the scene used to be over there. I mean, how does it work? How did it used to work? How were the Venus? How the relationship between bands and the pubs, the stages. Just explain them.
No, it was great. Especially, I mean, I live, not on the mainland, so I live on Vancouver Island. Obviously, you guys know that. So, our music scene is a real tight knit community, mostly. Whether it's punk rock or it's metal, kind of everyone just sort of gets together and goes and enjoys the music, and throughout Canada, I mean, not so much say in the middle provinces. There's Alberta, Saskatchewan, and Manitoba. They don't really have a big music scene there. It's mostly Ontario, excuse me, Montreal, and sort of the west and the east coast, and there's not too much of a middle scene. There is, but other than that, the music scene's great. Everyone gets along and everyone communicates and connects with each other. And I'm not sure what it's like over in Italy, but that's the way it's like here.
Well, it's here. If you ask me, it's kind of little circles.
Yeah.
There's little communities of bands that know each other.
Right.
And that's how it works. I mean, something is going for that circle, then something else goes for the other circle. But if you ask me what is really, really missing in the scene here, if our friends from We Fucking Rock are watching us, I think so. I think it is something that we are pursuing in this moment that we cannot play. We're not very busy trying to find shows and whatever it is.
Right.
Unity, because the problem is real. At least here in Italy, the problem is big.
Since I've last talked to you guys, we're locked down even more. We have travel restrictions now, so we can't really do anything.
No.
If you do come in on an international flight into Canada now, you're forced to quarantine at a government-sponsored hotel for 3 days that you have to pay for, which costs about $2,000 Canadian. And then after that, you have to go home and quarantine for 11 days before you're allowed out into the sun to get some vitamin D3. So it has gotten worse. I don't know. I'm not right or left on how I think of how COVID is. Whether it's fake or it's some kind of hidden government agenda, but it's strange. Right.
Man, I do agree with you. It is strange. It is really strange. And there's this question that keeps going around in my head, and it is: will venues and bands survive this?
I think the bands will. Humans are a resilient race already by nature, so I think they will survive. Most of the venues, of course, where I live they're shut down. They're dead. So, we don't know if they do have the money to reopen, or they can apply for government sponsorship money to help them reopen, or that's it. We're done. At least on my property that I have, I can do whatever I want because I don't have to, yes, I have rent and overhead, but it's not probably as much as running a business or a bar or that kind of stuff, right? Oh.
I have a very...
Time to go in for another juice box.
Wow. Go easy on that, man.
So if I put it in a glass, I can pretend I'm drinking some sort of alcoholic beverage. It's not from concentrate.
Wow. Listen, I take advantage of the moment to ask even Sally a question, because I heard rumors about a very good venue that is basically near where Sally lives that is going to shut down forever. Is it right that the Circuses Candici is shutting down doors? You know about that? Sally, did you hear me?
I
You
have a noise. I don't know what it is. I'm sorry.
Okay. I just asked you that I heard rumors about the Circuses Candici to close down, the shut down the doors.
I haven't heard anything about that, but I'm not surprised to hear it. And I have a very good friend of mine that has the Borderline Club in Pisa, and it's 1 year they're closed. They managed to rearrange somehow when it was allowed to give food, and they managed to organize a way to give food to people. So numbered people in, seated people, all of them. And there was unplugged concert going on during the dinner, and it was actually really, really nice. I did my birthday there in October, and after maybe a month, they shut down that too. And I don't know how they're doing right now, but I'm pretty worried about them because it's maybe the only live music place still going in Pisa, and we would miss it. My husband is a musician, and he's at home right now. He's not doing concerts, and it's a mess. It's really, really a mess.
It's pretty much the same situation here. We had a place called Logan's Pub. That's where, I always refer to punk music because we have, some of the, I guess, most famous punk bands that come out of Canada from the island. And Logan's always was, we call it the Village of the Damned. And that was kind of like, for our music scene, that was our Cheers, where everybody knows your name, and everyone went there and hung out, and they always, they catered to the underground scene, and now they're closed. So it's hard. And now we're into a 5-week ban on all indoor dining. The only thing you can basically do is build an outdoor patio in the middle of the road, and people can sit outside. And it rains a lot here, and it's cold. So we're basically having lunch in parkas.
Wow.
And that's your only real option. And if a restaurant can't have an outdoor patio or that kind of setting, then they're closed down.
Man.
Yeah,
That's just
here too.
Yeah, that's the reality of it. So you can't catch COVID while you're outside, but you can if you're inside.
Yeah. COVID
But then again, the conspiracy theorist in me also says, well, restaurants and bars here have to do contact tracing, where they have to take your name down. And so I always write down John Smith. And my phone number is 8675309. And I got it from Jenny off the bathroom wall. And that's my contact tracing number. But, of course, the skeptic in me, or the conspiracy theory, if you want to call me that, or they call us anti-maskers or anti-vaxxers now, we've been labeled, is restaurants have to do contact tracing and report, if someone catches COVID, well, they'll see their name, they'll say they went to that restaurant, and that's where COVID came from. But places like Walmart and Costco don't have to do that.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
And they can have up to 600 people inside those big, massive box stores, and they get away with not doing contact tracing. So why do restaurants have to, when, for instance, I could get off work, I could go to Walmart, Costco, get COVID, on the way home, stop at a restaurant, have a meal, write my name down, go home, get COVID, go to the hospital, test positive for it, and they'll say it came from the restaurant.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So why, and again, like I said, I'm not left, I'm not right. I sort of look at both things objectively in the middle. And why are they not having to follow the same protocols as small businesses and small restaurants?
Right.
And because what would happen if they said, oh, it's coming from Costco and Walmart? We just use those because they're the biggest corporations out there. That why do they get excluded from that, and small businesses and restaurants don't?
Right. This makes sense at the end. Conspiracy or not, this just makes sense to me.
Right.
In the end. But anyway, I am curious about one other thing. And I know that you befriended a lot of bands during your career, and you are in contact with them I don't say on a daily basis, but I think they are your friends, and you hear about it. What are they doing to survive this situation? I mean, they do day job, they do what?
Most people here, we have our regular day jobs, and music's kind of a side gig. Unless you make it big, and you can pursue it professionally, then everyone's just kind of sort of melted back into civilian life and doing their day jobs to survive. We do have it's called the Canadian Recovery Benefits, which gives you about $1,800 a month, and you can apply for that. And it's sink or swim. Either you can live off it or you can't, or you find a job that's going to make you be able to survive, right?
And it's not the best time to find a job.
No, it's not.
Looking for it myself, and it's not really a great moment.
Yeah, for me, I hurt my back 2 years ago, and I'm finally just getting back to work now. And I'm working probably 600 kilometers away from where I live, and they fly us in and fly us out here. And every time we come here, we have to do a COVID test in order to get on the plane. And
right,
it's a camp. Under COVID restrictions, they're only allowed 3,000 people here, even though the camp holds up to 4,500. So it's a mini city.
Man.
Yeah.
You know that at the moment here in Italy, we have a new great invention from our government that is called the Green Pass. It's like just like the green card, but it works between regions, between small regions of, I don't know, maybe hundred of thousands of people. And if you need to go through regions, you have to exhibit the green pass that just testifies that you don't have COVID. But if you're moving for leisure, you have to bring it with you. But if you are going around for work, it isn't just required. You can just say, no, I'm free. I'm going around for work. And
That's
I mean,
yeah.
it sounds just strange to me.
That's the same thing here. We're considered essential workers
Yeah.
because really, I mean, the biggest job provider is obviously industry and construction. Now, if they actually shut that down, then the economy's dead, right?
Right.
Me thinking on a conspiracy level. Did the you can think of the whole, the globalist idea and the 1% that rules the world, and did they get together and this is a way of resetting the world, like as you hear some of our world leaders say,
Yeah,
that
I heard
the
that.
great reset
I
and
heard of it.
universal basic income. So did they get together and figure out that arts and entertainment, they could just eliminate that because it doesn't really matter, because it's more of a luxury thing and it doesn't in a way contribute to the economy as a whole and generate enough money to be warranted to be essential? Whereas construction, like what I do, or big business, I mean, they're essential. They make the economy run, and that's what produces money and gives the rich people money.
Yeah, I heard about this.
During this pandemic, the rich people became richer and the poor people became poorer. So
Jeff Bezos, he's worth
yeah,
$100 million more in 6 months after it started because everyone's just ordering from Amazon, right?
Right.
you cannot go out. So
You can't go out, so you can spend your money on Amazon goods.
Well, let's go back to music because we have been speaking about this shit for like 30 minutes, but
Yep.
Brian
Yep.
is basically a walking encyclopedia. So I want to take advantage want to take advantage of his
Right.
presence. And I'm just coming at you with beautiful questions, but I just asked Sally to go on with the interview, and in the end, we are going to have a ping pong questions, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
Sure.
I have a curiosity. Here, I don't know in Italy in general, but here in Tuscany, we have a lot of tribute and cover band. They
Right.
mostly, they almost let them play uh, pretty much everywhere. I mean, if you have your own project, you don't find as much as you have a tribute band.
Right.
I know a lot of people that have their own project and they have a tribute band on the side to make money,
Right.
because they play more. It's something that happens in Canada too, or it's just us?
We've got lots of tribute bands. I mean, probably for you guys as well, it's probably, mainstream, music that you're covering, right? And
Yeah.
that it depends kind of which sort of, not sort of music circles or groups you're in, but probably people see that you're a tribute band. They've heard the songs a million times on the radio, so they're probably more likely to go see that band because it's music that they already know and listen to, and they're already familiar with it, versus going and seeing a band that they've never really heard. Are they more willing to go and see that and pay money and then be disappointed, or they're going to go see the tribute band or the cover band and say, oh yeah, they sounded great, they did a
I
great
know that
cover.
song.
Yeah, I know that song, I can dance to it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a million AC/DC tribute bands out there, probably, and Iron Maiden bands, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Right. So I think for a lot of people, it's probably familiarity about what the music they already kind of know, and it's sort of been already ingrained in them to know that music versus checking out something new.
Right.
Right.
There's been an evolution of the tribute band in the last 20 years, I guess.
Yeah.
If you watch the graphic, the stuff that they put on the venues, once back in time, you found like the name of the band, and on the side like tribute band of, I don't know, Metallica.
Yes. Yeah.
Now, during the last years before COVID happened, there was like tonight Metallica, and then very small underneath.
Yeah.
Cover band.
Stupid band.
Stupid band.
That's right.
It's just ridiculous.
Because people think, oh, it's Metallica playing, and then they're like, oh, it's the
Right.
tribute band. Well, let's go see it anyway
It's
because
Yeah,
I haven't
it's
heard some, I haven't heard Kill 'Em All in 20 years or something, right?
Yeah, I guess.
Somehow
But
they
it's a great
require
album.
you to dress as them, to get dressed and perform as the original band. So it's pretty much a copy paste of the original.
Yeah, there's actually one good band in North America. They're called Steel Panther.
I love that.
And okay, there you go. So they're still rocking the hair metal 80s. Tight jeans, spandex, hair, and makeup.
They're great.
Yeah, I've seen them play a few times. So they're still getting the ladies. Vince Neil,
Yeah.
not happening.
Yeah,
He's
I
old
know.
and fat. His glory days are over.
You play the guitar, you get chicks.
That's right.
It's fine.
Well, it's not about playing the guitar. It's how tight your pants are. Because it highlights certain parts of your body. Right.
So you have your own music festival,
Yes.
and I love the idea. And how did you come up with it?
My best friend 2 years ago was on his bucket list was he said he always wanted to have a party with some bands come and play, and I said, well, how much money do you have? And he says, I got $1,500. And I said, I got about $400. And I said, I'll make it happen. So I did. And that's how Sledge on the Swamp was born. And then it's just progressed into, 2 years ago, the show that never happened. And I still look at my poster and reminisce of the days when we can do volume 2, or last year was going to be 2.5, and probably by the time we can do it, it'll be probably volume 5.5, and it'll be the same lineup.
You plan on doing it once this pandemic will stop?
Yes. You're still allowed to do live streams. So my friend that does the Ska Reggae Fest, because he couldn't do the festival, and he applies for government grants because he's a nonprofit organization. Last summer, we did a live stream at my house for 2 days. So you're allowed to have bands come, and you're allowed production crews. You're just not allowed to have it open to the public. So we did 2 days with, I think, 4 bands per day as a live stream. And he's got friends that have a professional live streaming company. We had 2 static camera guys, one guy that was moving around with like the whole chest rig, and we also put across my yard a camera on a wire that's remote that goes back and forth. We did that stuff.
Was it hard to do it? I mean, we talked a lot about doing a music festival between my friends, but we never actually did it. And was it hard to put it together?
It's a lot of planning. I mean, usually, we kind of start like a year in advance. Or the first time we started in planning in November, it's a lot of, talking to the bands and finding out what their scheduling is. Depends who they are. I mean, Year of the Cobra, it's more, works sort of around what their schedule was. And we kind of set the same date. August 1st is a long weekend for us, so that gives people an opportunity to not have to work on Monday, so they're more inclined to come out on a Saturday and spend the night at my house. And I got enough room for most people to come to my house and camp out overnight. Right, and so...
I remember Year of the Cobra. They played in Italy as well. They played two shows here in Italy.
Did they play shows there?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
I do remember that. It
Right.
was Northeast, probably Udine.
Oh, no, they played more northern in Italy because I think they had some time in between.
Maybe Evo remembers that.
Yeah, they were supposed to go on tour with High on Fire too, and then that's right when Matt Pike had because he's got diabetes. So I think
Same. I don't know.
yeah, so I think he had to get his toe cut off, so they had to cancel the tour.
Yep. It
Right.
was like 2 years ago. 2 years ago.
Yeah, 3 years ago.
3 years ago. Yeah, I do remember that. It's
Yeah.
a duo, right?
Yeah, just husband and wife, John and Amy. And they just live in Seattle, so they're a couple hours drive for me.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest thing right now is getting bands across the border because we have border restrictions. So is getting bands that come up from the States or vice versa, right? Yeah, it's a lot of planning, but it's worth the planning. It's rewarding. I've just been in the process of building a 20 by 20 portable stage that in the summertime I can have in the lower part of my yard, and in the wintertime it's under 4 feet of water. So then I move it up into the front of my house.
And it's a family-friendly environment.
Totally family-friendly. We encourage people to come out. If you get drunk and you act stupid, well, I'll throw you out the door. You can smoke pot wherever you want. That's okay, and drink, and that's about it.
Man, I want to come over and do BBQ and grill the shit out of that festival.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like fun.
Yeah, it is fun. And I find that the nice thing about doing it at my house is it's not like going to a show at a restaurant or a venue, and then once the night is done, you got to go home. So you can hang out. Most of the bands actually camp out too, so you get to interact with everybody, and everyone hangs out and has a good time. And then what I also do is once all the bands are done, if you're a band, you play guitar, and a bass player from another band wants to get up on stage and just jam out and just play some stuff, we're more than happy to just go for it.
I think that this is the most beautiful way to end the concert. Jamming all together. It's fun.
Just jamming out. We don't actually have any set times. You can play for as long as you want. I don't really have an organized schedule. This band plays at this time and they have to be off the stage. If you want to play for 2 hours, go ahead. Or if you want to play before a different band, then have at her, right?
Yeah, the true essence of music.
And I mean, yeah, and that's what's cool about actually owning my own property is that I can do that. Whereas a venue says, "Oh well, our liquor license runs out at 1 o'clock in the morning, so everyone has to go home."
Did you have to get some? Something like a permit?
Nope.
Yeah, to do that. No.
The only thing I would need is I don't serve liquor. Otherwise, you have to have a liquor license, and then that falls into all kinds of other different categories where you have to have a bartender, you have to have security, and so we just say bring your own booze.
Great, I love
it. I probably could get a liquor license, but then the liquor inspector can come and you can walk around with a beer in your hand, but you can't smoke cigarettes. You have to have a separate smoking area, and you can't bring your drinks into that smoking area. It's pretty dumb.
In the open?
Yeah. So I just say, yep. I do get $2 million liability insurance, which only costs about $200 for the day, and that's about it.
Amazing.
We were also going to.
I love the fact that it's family friendly. So if you're a parent, you don't have to choose between staying with your kids or going to the concert. You can bring them over and share something with them.
Well, that's kind of why the essence of why I did it, because I grew up as a kid, like I said, we had the family gatherings. So I just want to do the same thing. And then, a lot of people that are older in my age that have kids, there's that, oh, do we go see this band play and we got to find a babysitter and we got to do this and we got to do that and then we got to cab it there. Whereas they can say, hey, we can set up a tent, make the kids go to sleep, and we can party all night.
Great.
Right. And then it also exposes your kids to what mom and dad listen to for music, right?
It's an experience.
Yeah.
It's absolutely awesome. Well, we are getting near to the end of the broadcast. We have like 10 minutes, and I'd love to play a little game with you. which is something that I usually do with bands because it's
Ooh.
so it's more. It doesn't really work when you're not a band, but I think that we can make it work with you.
Okay.
And since you know a lot of bands and you hear a lot of music, listen to a lot of music, so let's say that I'm going to ask you fast questions and you're going to give me fast answers. Okay. So just don't think, just, answer whatever, whichever comes to your mind. You
Do I
just
win a
spit it out.
free El Rojo vinyl CD by the end of it?
What?
Do I win a free album if I can answer correctly?
Okay. We can arrange that.
Or
Just
a
like,
toaster, I don't know.
just like, just like Jeopardy.
Just like that. The price is not as big, but
Oh,
we can arrange something.
okay.
So, okay, your fave act of 2020?
Favorite act?
Yeah,
Band?
yeah.
Just trying to think here.
One of the favorites. Just don't think too much. Just spit it out.
Probably Suncro.
Suncro. And
Can't say El Rojo because that's cheating.
yeah. Right. And one band that you spin once and you think you're never spin again.
No, I really have to think. I don't know.
According to your taste, it doesn't mean they're not good.
According to my taste, but not good. I don't know. I'm not sure. There's a few.
Mm-hmm.
I just can't pinpoint one. I'm not so sharp.
Just think about it. We can go on with other questions.
Okay, pass.
Who is the funniest guy you happened to meet on your musical journey?
I get to sit down and interview Max Cavalera from Sepultura.
Whoa.
Whoa.
He's a really down to earth guy, really cool guy. And ended up smoking a bunch of pot on his tour bus with his kids.
Cool.
Yeah.
And this is a typical question. Who was the stinkiest guy you met?
Stinkiest guy?
Yeah.
I don't know, because usually after a show I'm pretty stinky and sweaty myself, so I don't know if our smells blend together or it's one distinct smell or it's what's your favorite stoner band?
We have a question.
We have a question.
Would you go first? Which concert would I go first? Actually, I just found a really good one. They're called Bog Monster. They're out of Australia. They're really good.
I think I heard about them.
Yeah, their album just came out. It's free for download on Bandcamp. Name your price, of course. Give them some money and support them. Which concert would you go first? That's being translated, isn't it? Which concert would I go to first? Any concert, anything.
Anything.
I think we're gonna have plenty of concerts.
It's like giving a dog a bone. I'll take any bone and I'll chew on it for as long as I can. Oh yeah, back to the stinky question. I don't know. There's a lot of stinky people out there.
Okay. And this is usually a question that who was the heaviest drinker you met on your musical journey?
Me.
You're drinking juice. Come on.
Well, yeah. I don't have gin, but I have juice.
Yeah. And let me think. What is the most underrated band you can name at the moment so we can suggest it?
An underrated band. There's my friend's band, Mendoza. They just put out their 6th album this year. They used to tour a lot. They used to open for High on Fire, and there's they should be the top of their game, and they sort of didn't really fall off the map or the radar, but they used to tour all the time down in the States. They didn't tour for a long time, and I mean, they've been around, since 2001.
I think I heard of it anyway.
Yeah, they're it's my good friend Bina. She's the drummer. She plays in 4 bands actually. She drums for Mendoza. She drums for Heron, another band called Nostrum, and her other band, Mommy Fortuna, are going to release their album this year. And she just turned 50 this year, so she's a workhorse.
Yeah, almost like.
So last year, she released 3 albums.
Whoa, that's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, and underrated.
Mm-hmm. And let me think. What is the last song that made you cry?
Made me cry.
If you've ever cried in your life.
I don't know. It's probably not a metal song, but I don't know. Can I say Purple Rain by Prince? Is that relevant?
Yeah.
You can say that, of course. And what is, in your memory, the song that made you headbang the most? Like most violently or...
Violently?
Yeah, that time that you say, fuck everything.
Well, probably Refuse Resist by Sepultura.
Wow.
And I mean, I'm not a small guy. I mean, I'm 6'1", about 260 pounds.
Man.
And usually, I do concrete for a living, so I'm a pretty strong guy. Sometimes I forget that, and I have to pick the little people up off the floor and apologize. It's nothing personal, but, I'm in my moment. I'm in my glory.
Okay, well, I think that this is it. And if you can remember if you can pinpoint the band that you would never spin again, it's okay. But this is the game.
I don't know. There's some bands out there, I hear them and I'm like, it's just, there's a lot of funeral doom bands that just sort of, their songs just drag on and drag on and drag on.
Yeah, I get you.
And I mean, sometimes, sure, you can play the same riff for 10 minutes if you want. And yeah, I kind of lose interest.
Yeah. There are people that play the same riff for what? Half an hour, 40 minutes?
Yeah. If you want to play the same riff for a half an hour, well, I'm sure I'll probably be snoring by the end of it. But
yeah.
I like to change it up just to, kind of stay focused on.
And when it's sludgy, it goes slower and slower. Everybody.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Right.
Right. Well, I think that I'm done with my little game, and I really thank you.
There we go.
About being here with us.
Thanks for having me again.
I don't know if Sally have other questions she wants to ask to you.
Just one.
Yep.
Just one. It's been the Oscar night the other night, and
what are the Oscars? Never heard of them. That's where a bunch of people get together and they rig who gets to win, not based on actual fan base, just based on what they feel, and then they give out awards. That one?
It's basically
that one.
Perfect. Yeah, I've heard of those ones.
And Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross won an Oscar for a soundtrack.
Right.
And I want to know what you think about it, about 2 artists of that kind that won an Oscar for actually a Pixar movie, for a soundtrack for a Pixar movie.
Who was that again?
Trent Reznor from Nine Inch Nails and Atticus Ross.
Well, Trent Reznor, he's always been very diverse in what he does, right? He's a music lover as well. I've seen Nine Inch Nails play a few times. And, that's good for him that he's diversifying in what he actually does as a music composer and as a singer-songwriter, not just from doing Nine Inch Nails, but a lot of, sort of background stuff that you say, oh, Trent Reznor did that, really? Well, it's really good. So that's good for him to be recognized in that way as well, right?
Pretty much it.
And maybe he deserved that Oscar. And Metallica wins Best Metal Album of the Year 20 years running. Even though there's far better bands that really deserve it and actually have the fan base, but we know how mainstream media works, and it's kind of a rigged thing. Unless the cancel culture gets a hold of it and decides that it's offensive and they don't really like Metallica anymore.
And they cancel them out.
Yeah, they cancel them out. And somebody else takes their place.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think we are at the end of the night.
Cool.
Ben, it's always nice to.
Yeah, no, I'm glad that like when I spoke to you a year ago and we kind of seen what was happening with Eugene there, and now we've progressed into nothingness even more now. I mean, how is it over in Italy? Is it still the same?
Yeah.
Is it still Monty Python's with the guy saying "Bring out your dead" with his cart?
I wonder how they're doing over there in Ukraine. Probably we'll catch up with them on the broadcast sooner or later.
Yeah,
Evo is organizing everything. I hope you will. You can have a guest apparition.
Yeah, I mean, I still think everyone's hopeful for the future, and we're still optimistic, as optimistic can be during this. And I think everyone will get through it, and we will come back. No one forgets how to play guitar, so
I did.
Find that.
I
did
need a lot of practice. Oh. Yeah, I did. I need a lot of that. But anyway, before we go, I'd like to. I'd love you to explain our audience how to tune up to your radio. What the hours, the address, and all the stuff.
Oh, this is where I get to do this shameless self promotions. Perfect.
Yes, it is absolutely.
So. It's brokennecksradio.com. We do have a website. We also have an app on all social media platforms, of course, Google Play or Apple, if you use Apple platform there. My radio shows from 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. If you can't tune into my live show, of course, you can. I do record it, and it's put up on Podomatic as a podcast. And you can download that. You can listen to the Horde, rant and rave, get stupidly drunk and really stoned, and you can irritate your neighbors if you want.
They will love it.
Yeah.
They will love it. And the music selection, I promise it's on spot. It's fantastic.
But we're not on Spotify because Spotify doesn't pay anything.
No, we ain't.
It's
okay,
just a
guys.
way to find the bands and go on Bandcamp and support the bands. Give them some money.
Absolutely. That's
the all proceed Bandcamp Friday is a great thing that they're actually doing. It just shows that Bandcamp actually cares and is trying to help bands out by doing that. So support them, buy some merch.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna order that El Rojo on vinyl and probably pay about $1 million in shipping costs to Canada.
Yeah.
Probably in euros too, so it probably work out to about $250 Canadian to ship a $20 record, but I'm in. Right.
Well, this always works out.
Yeah.
Okay, Brien, I'm asking you not to leave.
Okay.
We're just going out to the final session to the audience, and we will be back at you in a few moments. Okay, stay on, and I will give you a part. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Bye.